Hi, my curious scientist. I am your friend in osteology. So today, let's check out some bones. If you really want to know more about bones, then osteology is the best field to follow. Osteology helps us to know the structure, the function, and formations of bone in the human body. It also helps us to get the big picture of the human skeletal system, which is essential for support, protection, and the formation of the framework of the human body. Look, think of it that you're a bone detective and you really want to know more about how the bones work and what they can tell us. I tell you, you will be astonished to know how the bones can actually give us the evolutionary traits. It can give us the age of a fossil using the carbon-14 dating technique. It can also give us the health of a person before he's dead. That is the study of pathology of the human skeleton, right? You study the pathology of the human bones, you will know more about the health of a person before the person was died. And osteology can also give us the gender of a person. Yes, the gender of a person can be determined using the pelvis of the skeletal system. It helps us to know the gender of a person. Osteology is a very wonderful field for us to follow. So please follow me while we explore the miraculous nature of the human skeleton. Now, before I commence, I would like to talk about the meaning of osteology. When we say osteology, what at all is osteology? Osteology is the study of bones. Osteos is a Greek word which means bone, and logy means study, to study something. So that the logy is logos. So osteologos means study of bones. So osteology is just a fancy word which means bone study, right? Meaning studying bones. Good. So like biology, bio means life, and logy means what? To study. You understand me? So life study or the study of what? Life makes what? Biology. Good. So let's first of all start with the structure of a bone. Now I have on this board the nice structure of the human femur, that is the thigh bone, right? Now, before we will talk about the structure of this bone, you have to know that this bone is actually found in the thigh, and it helps us to what? To locomote wherever we are going. With this bone help us to what? To move up and down, to and fro, to everywhere that you want to go. Now, talking about the structure of this long bone, this is a special type of bone called long bones. You have type of bones. You have long bones, you have flat bones, right? And you have other types of bones. Now, that's what we are talking about. So let's talk about the structure. The structure of this bone is being divided into three parts, right? Now, this part here, you have this upper part here, this lower part, and the middle region over here. Now, this upper part, this part is called the proximal epiphysis. It's called the proximal epiphysis. Epiphysis. It's called the proximal epiphysis, and this part is called the distal. The distal epiphysis. These are epiphyseal portions of the bone. Now the middle region over here is called the diaphysis. It's called the diaphysis. Good. So that is the name. This part is called the proximal epiphysis, distal epiphysis, and the diaphysis. Very good. Now you can see these blue regions over here. This part is color blue. This part is what? Blue. This shows that there are cartilage at the ends of what? Long bones and at the end of bones. So this long bone has a cartilage here. It has another cartilage over here. And these two cartilages are actually there for shock absorbing. Yes, and it also helps bones to move against each other freely. So it absorbs shocks and it allows easy movements of bones against what? Each other. And this cartilage is specifically called articular cartilage. Called articular cartilage. Called articular cartilage. So at the top here, it's also called articular. Articular cartilage. Good. Articular cartilage. Now, let's come to this part. You can see this red structure over here. This red structure is actually the artery. It's an artery that surrounds the bone or is part of the bone. And whenever you see arteries, you have to know that there's blood supply to that tissue. Now, this bone tissue contains specific type of cells called osteocytes. And the osteocytes needs oxygen for their functions in the bone, right? And because they need oxygen, these arteries are responsible for sending oxygen to the osteocytes so that they will be able to get enough oxygen for their metabolic activities. And arteries contains blood cells like red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. And the red blood cell is the part of the blood cells which contains what? Oxygen. and it can hold oxygen because it has no nucleus in it. So it carries the oxygen to those cells to help them to what? To thrive in wherever they are. So this part over here is an artery. Is a what? Is an artery. It's an artery. Good. Now you can see that this portion is being peeled off. This portion of the bone is being peeled off. What is this part called? This part is called the periosteum. Is the periosteum. The periosteum. The periosteum is a thin fibrous membrane layer which surrounds the compact bone and it protects the compact bone. So it's a thin fibrous membrane layer which surrounds compact bone and it's what? It protects the compact bone. Good. So what's the compact bone I'm talking about? This part over here, you see this empty space over here, up to this region over here is the compact bone. So we can call this part the compact bone. Now these black dots that I have made over here is actually the spongy bones. So this part is the spongy bone. So compact bone, let me write the bone over here. Compact bones and spongy what? Bones. Nicely done. Now you can see this empty space over here. This empty space is called the medullary cavity. It's called the medullary cavity. Medullary cavity is actually a free space in the bone that allows bone marrow extension. It's called medullary cavity or bone marrow cavity or marrow cavity, right? It's a space found in the bone which helps the bone to be lighter a little bit and also serve as a space for bone marrow extension. So whenever the bone marrow wants to extend, it will get enough space to what? To extend itself in the bone, right? Good. So this part is called the medullary cavity. I'll write it here. Medullary cavity. Medullary cavity. When you say cavity, cavity means space. So this is just a space in the bone that helps bone marrow extension. Right, now I would like to call this part the bone marrow. This is the bone marrow. You know, the bone marrow is very special. Very, very, very special. And what it does is that the bone marrow is essential for the production of blood cells, like the red blood cell, white blood cells, and the platelets. So the bone marrow is essential for hematopoiesis, that is the production of red blood cells, right? Good. Now, what it does is that it produces red blood cells, and in its initial form is actually red blood cell precursors, and white blood cells too. It produces this in the form of precursors. You understand me? Then the white blood cell and the red blood cell precursors develops to become matured red blood cell and white blood cell respectively. Do you get me? Good. Now another thing that it produces is the blood platelets. The blood platelet is essential for blood clotting. Good. Now this blood platelet is made up of certain cells called the megakaryocytes. So the bone marrow, it produces, right down here, the bone marrow produces red blood cells. It produces, I wish I had a white marker. It produces white blood cells, and it also produces platelets. Platelets, I have to write my, you get me? So it produces what? Platelets. Now these platelets, that is what I'm saying, that the platelet is being produced by a certain type of cells called megakaryocytes, or megakaryocytes. Oh, it doesn't go here, please. I'm coming. So let me write here, called the megakaryocytes. These megakaryocytes are responsible for differentiating to produce what? Blood platelets in the blood, which helps in blood clotting. White blood cells helps in fighting against disease in the body, and it is in a form of so many types, and they all have their ways that they take to fight against disease in the body. Right, now you can see this nice structure over here. This is actually the part of the bone called the compact bone and the spongy bone. So let's make this fine dots over here. So we have the spongy bone in front of it and the compact bone behind it. And I actually made this line over here to show that we are zooming on to this part. And this part of the compact bone is found what? Here. You get me? So this structure over here is actually the intricate portion of the compact bone. So let's look at the parts we can see over here. What is the things that you can find in the compact bone? First of all, this part over here, this part of the bone that you see over here, the spongy bone, meaning this dot that I've made over here, that's the same thing I've made over here. So this part is the spongy bone. The spongy bone. And behind the spongy bone is the white layer called the compact bone. By this part, you can see some things in it. And these things, we're going to talk about it a bit more later. Now, from here to here is the compact compact bone. It's a compact bone. Now, looking at the compact bone, you can see that there are vertical canals and horizontal canals in it. The vertical canals and the horizontal canals are responsible for allowing, or they are responsible for paving a way for blood vessels to reach this part of the heart, the compact bone. And these things that you can see here, these concentric rings that you can see here, they are called osteons. They are called osteons. Are called osteons. So the vertical ones, these ones, the vertical canals, they are called Haversian canals. They are called what? Haversian. Look at it. They are called Haversian canals, right? Good. And the vertical, the horizontal portion over here is called the Voltmann's canal. The Voltmann's canal. Voltmann's canal. Now, in the Haversian and the Voltmann's canal, that is where the blood vessels are. So this red portion over here, you can call it a vein. I'll call it a vein, and the blue portion can also be an artery. Right. So this is what we have to know about the compact bone. That the compact bone contains Haversian canals, it contains arteries, veins, and Voltmann's canal. It also has nerve cells in it. It also has nerves. Nerves in it. And these nerves actually give the bone, or the nerves actually tells us that there's a lot of stress in the bone. You get me? It tells us to feel whatever is going on in the bone. And that is a very, very crucial role that the nerves is playing in the compact bone. Right now.
Hi guys, you have come to the end of part 1 of today's lesson. Please follow me and subscribe to my channel and follow me for more on this same topic. Bye bye.